Hello, Ananda. Hello, Richard. Ananda. Okay, let me start the broadcast. Okay, so welcome. If you have any questions. Maybe I will reply to a question that somebody sent me. So, it says, even though it has been about 5 years since I woke up somehow to the reality that I may not be what I thought I am, it's still challenging and difficult to realize that I am awareness. I feel stuck with the reality. Where is it? With the reality that I am a body mind. I don't really know what I am. I have no proof of anything. I'm still struggling with the worldly mind experience. I want to go beyond it and give up the dream. Life as I imagine it isn't a happy place. It's full of pain, sickness, and problems. I'm still not sure how I can be free from it. I feel like a slave to the mind. It controls everything. How can I get rid of the mind? Okay, so 5 years ago, you say you woke up to the reality, meaning you had a glimpse. The reality that I may not be what I thought I am. So you had a glimpse of the self, that what you think you are, what you thought you are, is just a dream. But a glimpse is not enough. Of course, a glimpse into the reality of consciousness, the impersonal reality of consciousness, is crucial. It's a very important glimpse. But it's the beginning of your journey. So, in most cases, there are a bunch of tendencies still remaining that will arise. They may seem to haunt you, and they will pull you back into the impression that something is happening to you, and pull you back in the impression that you're vulnerable. So you have to keep remembering the revelation of your experience, the revelation of your glimpse, that this unhappiness is not the reality of what you are. You can't really give up the dream. I know you want to give up the dream. The dream is not the problem. The unhappiness is the problem, and the dreams do not need to be unhappy. And life is not a happy place. You need to figure out why. Why is life not a happy place? So you need to look into that. Life is not a happy place when we are resisting it. Why do we resist? Because we have some beliefs, some concerns about us, about ourselves. We say, no, this is going to hurt me. This is not good for me. This is not good for my future. So we resist because there are these ideas that something may hurt me. Or we pursue. We pursue something because we believe that that's where my happiness is, that the pursuits will guarantee my happiness. So you need to look into that whole mechanism. And at the core of this mechanism is the belief that you are a person, that you are a man, that you are an object. And that belief needs to be looked at. You need to ask yourself, what am I truly? That you take this question at heart. What is the mechanism of suffering? What is the mechanism of unhappiness? There is a belief structure. When you don't have any beliefs and you're relaxed and happy, life is not a problem. It's okay, life is fine. So you have to look at those assumptions you're making about yourself. They veil, they taint your wholeness. So I'm still not sure how I can be free from the pain and the sickness and the problems. I feel like a slave to the mind. You are not a slave to the mind. The mind appears to you. How can you be slave to something that appears to you? You're a slave when you appear into something, when you appear in a limited space, when you appear as a limited object, as a limited form. So contemplate that the mind has no power over you. It's secondary to you. Now, when I say it's secondary to you, I mean you as consciousness. I don't mean you as some mental form. So it's always the I that you mistake it to be a form, you mistake it to be a mind event. So like you mistake yourself to be a character on the stage. But that's not what you truly are. So it's so subtle. To be the slave of the mind is it's like suffering because you believe that the rope is a snake. You have to take a closer look. It's a rope, it's not a snake. The mind has no power. All power resides at the self, at consciousness. In our culture, in ignorance, we speak of powerful minds. Like an opera singer has a powerful voice. But in the contemplation of what you truly are, you confuse yourself to be the mind, to be some phenomenal event. That's when you suffer. You're forgetting, you're not looking in the right direction. You say, how can I get rid of the mind? Why do you want to burden yourself with getting rid of the mind? You try to get rid of the clouds, you try to get rid of the weather, you try to get rid of the rain, you try to get... The mind is a phenomenal dream. Why you want to get rid of your dreams? When you go to sleep, you say, oh, I hope I don't dream, I hope I don't dream. No, you don't need to get rid of the mind. Just contemplate what you truly are. The mind is like... It's a dream events, a mind, perceptions, sensations, thoughts. You can enjoy them, you can celebrate them, but as long as you mistake yourself to be a man, you're in trouble. So yeah, the initial glimpse into the self, there's a long journey after that, and you can't... There is no shortcut. You can't bypass that. You have to travel that path, and contemplate the source. Don't try to have a better life. Don't try to have better experiences, because that's still downstream. Remain at the source. The freedom of the self. Remain as that. Contemplate that. Contemplate the source. Okay, if there are any questions, anybody?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Maria?
Yes.
Hello, Maria.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello.
Very happy to see you.
Very happy to see you.
So, Magdi, I have been somewhat confused about the two words, which are consciousness and awareness. And it seems like they are used often interchangeably.
Mhm.
Just wondering if you can help me shed some light on that.
Well, I use the terms consciousness and awareness interchangeably, Maria. I use them synonymously. I don't make distinctions between consciousness and awareness. But let me say some more about that. So consciousness is an experience. It's not a John, you need to mute yourself. So consciousness, as I was saying, is an experience. It is not a mind experience. It is, when I say it's an experience, meaning it's not a concept. It's not some abstract idea or notion. By consciousness, I refer to the reality that right now perceives, that right now hears, that right now knows. There is a reality that perceives this perception, that hears these words. So it's an actual, it's an experience. It's the reality of your experience, let's say. That's how I use the term consciousness. You could say that consciousness can be aware of a tree, for example. When there is a tree that appears, or when consciousness, let's say, governs or channels through the body-mind an oak tree, there is an oak tree that is perceived. So you could say that via consciousness, there is awareness of a tree. Are you with me with that?
Yes. Okay. Or you could also say that awareness, I was just looking out through your window and a big branch of the tree just fell down.
Okay.
I see. But, so you could also say that awareness is aware of the tree.
Okay.
Interchangeably, in such a way. But it's when people say, I was knocked unconscious, they mean, when they black out or something.
Yeah, let's come to that. Let's come to that in a minute. So I just stay with just the terms consciousness and awareness. So when you say that I'm aware of the tree, awareness is aware of the tree, or via consciousness there is awareness of the tree. What's important is to contemplate the following, that the perception and awareness are not apart. There is no distance between awareness of the tree and the tree. Do you follow that?
Let me see. Can you say that once again?
Yeah, saying that when you're aware of a tree, you're aware of your perception, right?
So, okay, I'm aware that I'm aware of a tree.
Yeah, you're aware of your perception, right? You're aware that you're aware of the tree. You're aware of a perception. There is a perception.
Yes.
That, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're aware of a perception, yes? That we call it a
Yes.
tree. We call it a tree. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that perception, how far apart is that perception from the awareness?
How far apart the perception? Well, there's the seeing, right? In this case, the perception is the experience of seeing the tree.
Yeah, right. So you're aware of a perception that we refer to as a tree.
Through seeing.
Yeah, right. Through seeing. So there is awareness of a perception.
Yes.
Through the instrument of sight of a tree. Now the question is, how far apart is the perception from the awareness?
Not apart. It's just it's right there.
Right. They're not apart. So you could say that the awareness of the tree and the awareness of the perception. John, I'm sorry, I have to mute someone. Okay. John, I think you need to figure out something about your access here, because it's not working. Okay. Okay, let's go back to this. So the awareness and the perception are one. That's what I'm getting at, that the awareness and the perception are one. The awareness of the perception and the perception are one. You're okay with that?
Well, let me see. Where I perceive something, it seems like there's the awareness of the knower that knows that perception is happening. So they're very close together. However, it feels like there's kind of the observer, witness, knower, awareness.
Don't philosophize about it.
No?
Like
Okay.
right now, you're looking at this screen. Don't think about it. You're just perceiving this perception. Yes.
Yes.
It's that simple. You're aware of this perception. Yes.
Yes.
Just that simple. In your direct experience right now, what is the distance between the awareness of the perception and the perception itself? That's the question. The perception right now, this perception right now that you're experiencing, right? Where is it? Where is it?
It's right here.
And where is the awareness
of
the perception right here? Is it the same right here or different right here?
Well, when I don't think about it or anything, I want to say yes, right here.
Yes.
It's only when I start like, you know.
Right. Your direct experience can be simple.
Okay.
Thinking can be complex. I'm just talking about right now. There is an experience of, we call it a perception.
Yes.
And so the question is, this perception and the awareness of the perception, are they two? Are they apart?
No, they're just...
Yes. In your direct experience, the awareness of the perception and the perception are one. They're not, there's no distance between them. Anyways, you need to contemplate that, okay?
Yes, yes.
So
And
what I'm getting
okay.
at is that, okay, once you become clear that the perception and the awareness are one, meaning the awareness of the perception and what is perceived, the perception itself, because you perceive the perception. You don't perceive a tree, you perceive a perception that we call it a tree.
Okay, so any object, whether it's a thought or a tree or sensation in my body, is a perception.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's
Yes.
all a perception.
Absolutely. Like you perceive a sensation. Right now, let's go to the sensation of your feet on the floor.
Uh-huh.
You perceive the sensation. Yes?
Yes.
So you're perceiving a perception that we're calling it a sensation. We're calling it sensation of my feet on the ground.
Yes.
You're actually perceiving a perception that you're aware of a perception, and that perception we're referring to it as a sensation. So forget about perception. Let's call it sensation. You're perceiving the sensation. Yes.
Yes. When I direct my attention towards the feet,
Yes, you
then I
perceive the
perceive
sensation.
that. Yes.
Yes, and that sensation. How far apart is that sensation from the awareness of the sensation?
It feels apart because there's the distance that the attention has to travel to the object that I'm directing my attention towards.
Is that true in your experience? Like, do you experience a distance right now? Like
Yes, I
when
do.
you do.
Yes, because it's not right away. There's like maybe a few split seconds where I have to purposefully direct my attention to my feet in order to feel the sensation on my feet.
Yeah, but once you arrive to the perception,
Okay.
you arrive to let's say you've arrived to the perception. Right now you're perceiving the sensation.
Yes.
What's the distance between the sensation and the awareness?
Once I'm there is no distance, but there's a feeling like I have to grab onto the sensation, otherwise the distance will happen.
Well, that's normal because I'm directing your attention towards the sensation. We're using it as an example. So I'm telling you, for example, think of your grandmother. So you have to sort of download
Yes, the
image of your grandmother. Yeah, okay, I understand. But so let's use something that's more accessible. Like, for example, just this perception. Well, with your eyes closed, if your eyes are closed, just the whatever you're perceiving. It's that, you can pick any example you want that's easier accessible to you. If the sensation of your feet is
like the sound of your voice right now, right?
Okay.
So as soon as I close my eyes, I don't have to direct my attention. It's just there.
Good. Okay. So the question is, what is the distance between first to contemplate that what I'm perceiving or what I'm hearing, if you want to use the word hearing, because we're talking about my voice, I'm hearing my own hearing. I am perceiving my perception.
Mm-hmm.
the idea that there is an object out there that you are perceiving, that is, if you look at your direct experience, in your direct experience, there is nothing out there. In your thinking and your conditioned mind, yes, there is something out there. Magdi's voice is out there, and my hearing is right here. But that's, I'm inviting you to look at your direct experience. In your direct experience right now, you are hearing, there's an immediacy of a hearing, an immediacy of awareness. The awareness and the hearing are not two. You are immediately aware of your own experience. It takes zero time, zero distance. It is at zero distance, and it takes zero time.
Yeah, it resonated with me.
So, okay, now coming back to consciousness. You see, I use the term to be conscious or to be aware interchangeably. Now, you can be aware that you're aware. Are you aware that you're aware?
Uh-huh.
Yes. And can you be conscious? Are you conscious that you're conscious?
Well, yes. The only thing is, if someone knocked me out
No.
I
Forget it.
fainted.
Nobody's knocking you out. It's just
Okay.
okay. You're conscious that you're conscious. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, if somebody knocks you out, because since you brought it up, because I think that's an important question for you. What will happen? Your perception, your body mind will go into neutral, like
there'll be no perception.
anesthetic, right. There'll be no perception, probably very little bodily sensation, and probably very little or very low volume thought, if any. Yes. So if somebody knocks the body out, the body functions will dim down, like a dimmer. It should go down to 0.10 or whatever, 10%, 8%, whatever. Yes. Now, when the body dims down, there is the assumption, there is the belief that awareness dims down. And it's true that awareness of sounds, awareness of bodily sensations, awareness of thoughts dims down. But do you disappear? If somebody knocks you out, do you disappear?
No. Well,
you answered very quickly. You answered very quickly. I'm hesitant to accept your answer.
I'm trying to see what the you is. I mean, let's say do you disappear? I mean, the consciousness that's conscious of perceptions disappear because I'm knocked out, right?
Well, yeah, the body mind functions disappear.
Okay.
Let's say, or go down very, very low in volume.
Right.
Or let's say even they disappear. But do you disappear is a question.
Well, I want to get to the stage where I could say no, because I'm awareness. There's no objects in my awareness. However, awareness is, the perceptions are no longer there. But I'm saying it from my mind,
Yes.
I want to say it. I mean, I want to truly feel it and be able to say it like from experience.
You cannot fake it.
No, I can't. Right.
Yes.
I know, but it's like my whole being is yearning and longing to just say, no, I don't disappear.
Well,
I'm awareness, and it doesn't matter. No object.
Why? You can be honest with yourself, and honest together here. You can be honest, sincere with yourself, because it's beautiful to be sincere with oneself.
Yes.
So how would you answer that if you're sincere with yourself? If somebody knocks you out, the question is, if somebody knocks you out or if you get knocked out, do you disappear? That's a question that you're asking yourself. I'm asking myself. We're all asking ourselves this question. If I get knocked out, do I disappear? If the body dies, how about that? If the body dies, do I disappear? That's the question.
I don't know.
Ah, good. Good. I don't know. That's good. Because that's the genuine answer. I don't know. Well, let's look at it the following. Let's look at it this way, Maria. If you answer yes, if I get knocked out, I disappear, then the question would be, just logically, how would you know that? How do you know that you've disappeared? You know, for you to say, yes, I disappear, that means you know it. Meaning you witnessed, there is the way you know something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. So, there was a question here. So for you to say, yes, I do disappear, I end, you need to somehow be there to know that, right? But if you are there, that means you haven't disappeared.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So you could say, well, wait a minute, I can't say for sure that I've disappeared, because if I say for sure that I've disappeared, that means I was there to, right? So that's a contradiction.
Yeah.
So you come to I don't know, and that's a beautiful place to come to. I don't know. Why is it a beautiful place? Because we've moved from when the body mind disappears, I also disappear. We moved from there to when the body mind disappears, I actually don't know that I do, which is a step to more towards truth, closer to truth, because in fact I don't know. Okay. Now, I know we've moved away from your initial question, but we'll come back to your initial question, Maria. It's often like that. Now, contemplate the following. Between a perception, let's call it perception A, and a perception B, there has to be some space. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Because if there was no space between perception A and perception B, there will be one perception. Then we would not be calling them perception A and perception B.
Yes.
Or thought A and thought B. We would just be calling them thought A. So for there to be thought A and thought B, which is our experience, we have many different thoughts. The thought of, Gibraltar and the thought about Hawaii, two different thoughts. Between thought A and thought B, there has to be some sort of space, meaning they're not touching each other. There is a space.
Yes.
In that space, do you disappear? I know there is no thought between thought A and thought B, but the question is, do you disappear?
I can't, because otherwise I wouldn't have thought B.
Right, absolutely. And right, exactly. Between thought A and thought B, there is a gap. And that gap is, we're open to the possibility that this gap is presence, awareness, consciousness, pure. Pure meaning, I don't mean pure in terms of better or worse. I mean pure meaning without an image, without a thought, without a sensation. Just pure meaning like unadorned, without a form. Yes?
Yes, Magdi, and this is like when you're in deep sleep kind of a situation.
Yeah, kind of.
Right? Because you have one awake state and another awake state, and in between you think you disappear.
Yeah, but I'm talking about our regular experience. Every second we're having different thoughts, different perceptions, different sensations. So there's unending zillions of gaps. I'm talking in our daily life right now. In this conversation, there are one thought different from another thought, a perception different from another perception. It's our ongoing experience. is a variety of phenomenal events. There are too many to even make a list of them. If you try to make a list of your perceptions, you'd go crazy. You couldn't keep track of them. So there is the resilience of spaces in our experiences, in our actual experience. And these spaces, we're there. We don't disappear. What is it that's there? It's I, consciousness. So I'm talking about consciousness existing in our experience, in the absence of thought, in the absence of sensation, in the absence of perception. Why am I saying in the absence? I'm saying in the absence because between thought A and thought B, there is no thought. No thought. No thought.
So if I want to bring awareness or consciousness to that unadorned gap, you know, when I'm meditating and I want to, I just open up my sense of beingness and not directing my attention to any one thing, just allowing anything just to arise as they arise, not resisting. And it's, I guess in the back of my mind, there is this slight yearning for being conscious of that gap.
Well, then when you're aware of that, you're aware. Right now, just are you aware that you're aware?
Yes.
So you're aware of the gap. You're aware that you are that gap, that you are awareness. Are you aware that you are aware?
Yes.
What is it that is aware? Is it not awareness?
Yes. But there is still a directing of attention. Almost feels like awareness becomes an object here.
No, well, okay, when you turn your attention towards awareness, you say, okay, when you ask yourself, am I aware? Where do you go? To what object do you go? Show me what object.
It sometimes feels like a thought.
So
of awareness.
When the thought of awareness, when you ask yourself, I'm aware, you go to a thought. When you ask yourself, let's do it right now. Are you aware? Are you aware? Are you aware that you're aware?
Yes, it just comes out spontaneously.
You don't go to a thought. You pause. Pausing does not mean you're going to a thought. Pausing means you stop. And you look directly at awareness. You look directly. You, meaning awareness, looks directly at awareness. Awareness looks at itself and says, yes. You see, you have to be careful to distinguish between seeking an experience, looking for an experience of peace, an experience of awareness, an experience of blah, 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 and the direct knowingness that bypasses the mind, that does not go anywhere. It goes to itself. It is itself. It turns its attention to itself. It's from itself to itself. It goes from itself to itself. It looks directly at itself, from itself, within itself. It's very different from seeking a state or seeking an experience that of beatitude or experience of
Right. No, I mean, I'm not seeking that. I need to know, like, there's this thing about looking inwards, awareness towards awareness, and then immediately something pops up that feels like a thought, like, oh, was that really awareness looking into awareness? Oh, but then this is a thought, like I get myself kind of
Yes,
entangled up.
that follows. In other words, when you ask yourself, am I aware? You look within and it say, yeah, I am aware. Am I aware that I'm aware? Yes, I am aware that I'm aware. And after that, a thought comes up, oh, wait a minute. Was that an actual, was that the experience of awareness knowing itself, or was I thinking after? This
Right.
is follows.
Okay.
So the mind comes up, the mind comes into play and says, wait a minute, did I get it? Or how can I hold on to it? Or was that the real thing? But that's subsequent. That's the mind that subsequently comes and starts the churning and the turning of the wheel.
Right. I'm looking to see how experientially I can distinguish the feeling, like a thought, like.
You distinguish the knowingness of the self, meaning knowing yourself, from mind.
Yes.
By the peace that knowing yourself emanates, and by the confusion that follows the mind. When you are feeling confused, you are in the mind. When you are at peace, you are at the self. That's how you can distinguish.
Always.
Always.
Wow.
So you can stay with just the contemplation of what am I truly? This very moment, in this very moment, without needing to go anywhere, without the need of any experience, without the need of any remembrance, without the need to hold on to anything. I know I am. I know I am. Okay, then the mind may come in, I'm Maria, this and that and that and that. Okay, then you go back to, without needing to go anywhere, without the need of any activity, any meditation, any remembrance, any form. Directly in this very moment, I know I am. And this amness is my direct experience. Can you experiment with that?
Yes.
Just a simple, pure amness. Don't try to remember it, hold on to it, have an image of it. Don't try to keep a log of it. Nothing. And if it, don't hold on to it. Just the pureness of I am, the pureness of being. You see, the beauty about being is that it's 24/7. It's ever present. But it's not available to the mind. It's simply available to itself, being. The mind may come in and says, oh, good, okay, how do I do? Let me see, what do I do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? Nothing. Simply contemplate being. Contemplate being. Contemplation of being is not a doing. It's a non-doing. It's actually releasing, allowing whatever it is to be. allowing whatever is to be, and remaining as what you are, this awareness that is. You are that. It's a joke. You are this awareness. It's not like something that you need to accomplish. In this very moment, you are this aware presence. Anyways, I mean, coming back to one comment you made way back when in your question about consciousness, because your question was about consciousness and awareness. In ignorance, we believe that consciousness depends on the body-mind. That when the body is knocked out, consciousness is gone. So there is a difference between consciousness and sentience. The body may lose its sentience when it dies. When the body dies, it loses its sentience. It ceases to function as an instrument of perception, of mentation, of sensation. It ceases. So the sentient qualities of the body go to zero. They atrophy. It switches. It becomes molecular. So, but in ignorance, we believe that when the body loses its sentience, consciousness is also goes with the body. So like doctors say, oh, well, this person lost consciousness, meaning they fainted. They lost consciousness. In fact, they did not lose consciousness. They lost sentience, or temporary sentience, because when the body dies, it loses sentience for good. But let's say you faint or you have anesthesia, then you lose or you diminish. It diminishes your sentience, the qualities of the body are toned down, are dimmed down. But the contemplation of consciousness is quite different. The contemplation of consciousness is a contemplation of the reality that perceives all form. It perceives thoughts, it perceives mentation, it perceives sensation, and it knows itself in the absence of thoughts, in the absence of mentations, and the absence of sensations. Between perception A and perception B, it knows itself as I am. So when you contemplate the I am, you are not contemplating, you're not thinking about I am. You're not trying to look at I am. There is a direct contemplation, the self contemplating itself, and it knows, yes, I am. I am beingness. I am peace. I am love. I am beauty. Whenever you're experiencing love, beauty, freedom, and joy, you are the self. And whenever you're not, you are a body-mind entity.
Thank you.
Okay, Maria, nice to see you. Okay.
Nice to see you.
Okay. Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, Maria, you ask, would you not recommend time set aside just for contemplation or meditation? Yes, absolutely. Especially if it speaks to you. It's not something that somebody can impose on you, but So yeah, the answer is yes. I do recommend time set aside for contemplation or meditation. But what I mean by meditation, I'm not referring to any practice, Maria. By meditation, I'm referring to the contemplation of the self. Whenever you ask yourself, what is it that is real in my experience? What is the reality that perceives? You are in meditation. Whenever you turn your attention to what am I truly, where is this perception? What is the reality of this perception? You are in meditation. So, in fact, you can meditate throughout the entire day, sporadically, because your love for truth will draw you to, naturally, it will draw you to contemplate, to turn your attention to a deeper place, the reality of your experience. It will grow on you. In fact, you may start doing some meditation practices, and in time, upon meeting, let's say, upon the ripening of your contemplation, you will, your meditation will unmeditate itself. You will go beyond the meditation to an open field of meditation. So let's say that your meditation practice will reveal a much broader field of meditation than your meditation practice. If you have a certain meditation practice right now that is speaking to you, that is drawing you, and is talking to you, you can follow it, but it has to take you beyond itself. It has to take you beyond the meditation. Meditation is just a tool to take you beyond the mind, beyond the belief structures. So if you somehow ask yourself, how could I meditate without a person? Can you meditate without a person? Or meditate, if you meditate about the person, what is the person? On what basis am I a person? On what is this personal impression? Meditate upon that. So yes, if there is a practice that speaks to you, follow it, and follow it to the happiness, to the freedom, to the joy. Yes, okay. Everything shifts, everything changes in our contemplation of the self. Meditation with no meditator. There's only one reality, and that's the self. And I am that. Meaning, what truly perceives that there is a reality to consciousness. This consciousness is the I am, is what I am. I have to admit that I don't recommend any meditation practices to my friends, but I have to admit that one could say that I've meditated for years and decades, but meditation that comes out of love for truth, it goes beyond meditation. It's love. It's passion. And love is not personal. It transcends the personal.
Magdi?
Yes, yes.
Hey, this is Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Ryan.
I might get cut off. I got cut off before, but if it happens, I'll come back on.
Okay, cool.
I was going to ask, I was just kind of walking through a beautiful meadow earlier today and just kind of playing with being aware of being aware. And it's like you talked earlier about the gap between thoughts. And I think that's a great pointer, but when I was looking at the kind of gap and kind of walking in a beautiful setting, there's always some sensation, perception, like there's, if there might not be, there's a gap between two thoughts, but it's like consciousness, there's always objects being perceived or sensed. And maybe if I'm sitting in a quiet retreat for a long time, that some of those aren't registered as strongly, so you can kind of get more of the empty space. Does that make sense? I was just kind of playing with this idea, like it's dynamic and there's always something that was arising basically in experience.
Ryan, when you are walking in the meadow, and there is an impression of a continuity of experience, in fact, there is a discontinuity as well, because if you sort of slow down the camera, if you slow down the film, you're 1 second you're looking where your foot is setting down, next is you're looking, it's very quick. It's like a bark of a tree, and next is the sound of a bird, and next is you see some leaves, and then you see the sun shining on a rock. There is a discontinuity of the images. Like when you take a screen, let's say a movie, you see a horse running. If you slow down the spinning of that of the movie, the movie reel, then you start seeing that that there's in fact quite a discontinuity between the frames, but as they spinning at a certain speed, then there is a continuity in the perception. So I just wanted to just bring that on deck, and also talking about the sense of continuity that you are mentioning, which is your experience of a certain continuity. This continuity, Ryan, is the continuity of consciousness. There is a continuity, or let's say there is an eternity. Continuity in terms of the language itself of that word, seems that there is something, some object that is continuing. But yes, that's okay. There is that word continuity. I just like the word eternity. There is a certain present. There is the field, but it's a borderless field. It's not even a field. It is a reality of consciousness, and uninterrupted in our experience. And of course, that it's not a thing, but I'm using that term, and I think you understand me. That thing that is uninterrupted. Oops, we lost your line, but you have the recording. You can follow it later. The thing that is uninterrupted is actually, oh, you're back. It's not actually a thing. It is a consciousness. It is the knowingness, the aminess, the beingness that takes on the form of thoughts, perceptions, or takes on the form of a zillion frames, like when you're walking in the woods, zillion frames, and all these frames are imbued. Their substance is continuous, is non-discontinuous. Their substance is consciousness. Yes.
I was just going to say also, the other context of this is the idea of kind of the metaphor of the screen and the movie. So the screen being awareness, and that you can still enjoy the movie, and the screen's self-aware.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's kind of that kind of
yes.
It's like the foreground and the background of having, okay, the awareness in the foreground, but that play of just, walking through the meadow and there's so much stimulation, but there's awareness, and maybe I'm being overly,
well, no, it's
a little overly analytical.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, I'm trying to give it in the experiential sense, but just because there's part of that I've discussed with a buddy of mine too, is I think he was leaning toward the side of like, to truly.
Oops, I lost you, Ryan. Or
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
He was kind of more of thinking it was more of like in the absence of objects. It's the screen by itself in the absence of objects. But I'm kind of looking in my experience. I'm like, well, that's not what I hear a lot of teachers I respect say. That doesn't have to be in the absence of objects. You can enjoy this movie and and have awareness in the foreground, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you look at an object, like when you're walking in the forest, sensations, thoughts, perceptions, if you contemplate these objects that you're experiencing, they're actually at zero distance from the consciousness that is perceiving them. So they're not even 0.5 millimeters away from consciousness. Consciousness is the substance of all perceptions, of all sensations. So how can you remove any perception out of consciousness? The substance, the very substance of a thought, of a perception, is consciousness. So consciousness, out of its freedom and sense of play, takes on the form of all phenomenal forms: thoughts, perceptions, sensations, mentations, whatever. So there is no need to remove anything. You can't remove anything. There is no removal. How do you remove your dreams out of yourself? What sort of question is that? In a way, it's nonsensical. I mean, what we contemplate in Advaita, in the non-dual teaching, is the unhappiness, is the virus, is the misery. That's what we contemplate. We contemplate that. It's not about removing it. We just say, well, wait a minute, what is this? Why is the dream unhappy dream? And so we just, because we're interested in this question, say, wait a minute, is it possible to celebrate this magic show? It's just a question. And we say, well, no, in my experience, it's not possible. I want the sunshine and it's raining. I want more money, and somebody else is getting the job. I want this wife or this husband, and he or she loves somebody else. So we say, wait a minute, it's not possible to celebrate this dream. But when we go deeper into these questions, and we come to realize that, wait a minute, maybe there is a download there is something that's downloaded in the mind that is a factory of misery, which is that I am this separate body mind, that I am this mortal person. So in our contemplation, we start to contemplate. We hear the teaching. We hear the Dharma. The teaching that this body mind is not the reality of consciousness. There is a reality that I am, which is not a body mind, which perceives body mind, which experiences body mind, but it remains free. It remains. It is liberated. It is already liberated. It is joy, peace, and happiness. So for your friend who is on the impression that consciousness, the celebration of consciousness, is only possible in the absence of world, body, mind, he or she needs to contemplate that the world, body, mind, its very substance is consciousness. Ignorance, meaning the forgetfulness that I am consciousness, or the belief that I am a man or a woman, a mortal body-mind form, that is a virus, and it's unnecessary. We can be free of it. We are free of it the moment we realize that this belief is unsubstantiated. It is a passed on belief structure. And that the more we look at it, the more we find that it has no validity. It cannot stand on its own. It cannot stand on its own. It requires your participation, meaning it requires you as consciousness saying, yeah, I'm born. And when you say, yeah, I'm born, you're choosing to delay the celebration of the self.
Thank you.
Yes. So yes. The continuity is the continuity of consciousness, right? And it's a beautiful continuity. That's I mean, we know that there is a continuity, and that's the continuity of the self. So yeah. Any question? Hello, Ananda.
Hi. So I was it just occurred to me in the course of listening to the conversation, it's like it's like there's only one thing happening, and it's like a complete aloneness in a way, and a nice aloneness, and then things are showing up in it. I love it when you show up in it.
Same here, same here. Yeah, as you probably heard me say before, Ananda, I love the term aloneness as all oneness, as wholeness. The term wholeness, fullness, or completeness, or totality. Yes, you could say aloneness as all oneness. It's a beautiful aloneness, because it's aloneness as oneness. So oneness, wholeness, the wholeness of consciousness. Your consciousness is beauty, is love, is splendor. It's splendor. It's the splendor of the self and goodness. I mean, it's delight. D-E-L-I-G-H-T is delight. It's delightful. Yeah, it is. You could say that that's the one thing happening. As a matter of speaking, yes, it's. But we know it's not a happening. It's a non-happening. You could say it's a happening or non-happening. It doesn't matter. What really matters is to celebrate the joy, the peace, the love, an effortless celebration of the self. The revelation of the self is a revelation of love, beauty, tenderness, joy, compassion, passion, creativity, humor, laughter. Yes. And the beyond. Beyond meaning we love the show, we celebrate the show, but we are the freedom. We are the freedom of the self. So I say beyond, meaning the freedom that is the eternity of the self. So it's not really beyond, but it's the wholeness of being. Yes.
Like it would be. I used to always really want to transcend everything, to be transcendental, and I worshipped almost the transcendent, or the other, the amazing other place or something. And now it seems like so much that there's nothing but it.
Yes. Yeah, the self is beauty. The self is love and tenderness is beauty. Yes. All is the self. There is but the self.
Yes. So, one way that I'm still a little bit off kilter, because I'd say, like, I find myself in my work, it's helping people that are dying, and I think that dying's fine. And I find myself sometimes saying, I wouldn't mind dying. I mean, you can't lose yourself by losing the body or the body mind. And and that's a little bit of a strange idea to people. I think that I think it's legitimate for myself.
What's coming to mind is this saying in the Upanishad. You may help me with it. That what is real never dies, and what is not real never was born. Something to that effect. I don't.
No, you're right. I remember that.
Yes, something to
what's
that.
What's real never dies. What's unreal
never was
never
born.
Really
There was. Yeah.
So
it's already dead.
Yeah, that's a good one. You can't lose it.
So
when it's people's birthday, I always want to say something like, well, let's celebrate the unborn. It's always a celebration. And
yes.
And then they'll say, well, let's also have pizza and beer or something. I say, it's easy to it's easy to remember pizza and beer, but to remember your unborn self. And then you know, I have some friends, you know, some of my friends are pretty illumined in a way, and I think, are they just playing and playing? Let's celebrate the pizza, because we always have ourselves, but you know, we don't always have pizza. It's just like a joke in a way.
Yeah. You could say that the remembrance of the unborn is a sort of forgetfulness.
Forgetfulness of your attached of the. Well, you say.
Just a forgetfulness. It's not so much a remembrance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a forgetfulness, yeah. So you go from the impression of objectivity to the infinite expansion of being. Even remembrance is too much. Even remembrance has a little static. Has a little.
It sounds like a mental process.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I like the metaphor of the self is like a circle with infinite diameter and no center. It's really not even room for remembrance. We do use that term remembrance in sharing the Dharma and in the teaching. You have to keep in mind that the entire teaching, the Dharma, is just a tool. It's an instrument, like in the hands of the conductor, the baton. The baton is an instrument, but the objective is the magic of the composition. You know, so it's an instrument. The Dharma is an instrument that takes you beyond it.
That's a beautiful metaphor. It's just directing out of the dream.
Yes.
The beauty of the thing. So I think I see what you mean, and then it's a kind of forgetfulness. It's not like needing to be prompted to remember that. It's like just forget all the limitations, the thinking that has limitation to it.
Well, it's a forgetfulness without someone doing it. So it's not a forgetfulness that you could do or that you could remember.
I remember I've seen a poem like that somewhere. Remember to forget until
yes,
there
right.
was no more.
Yeah, it's so we may remember, you know, the self, whichever form it takes, as long as it takes us in the direction of peace and the release of the structures. And whatever takes us in that direction is a good current. It's a good current taking us to the ocean. And at some point, it's just the ocean, and then the vastness and the celebration of oceanhood. But all along, the entire contemplation of truth is a contemplation of love, because truth is love. And when you're contemplating truth, you're contemplating love. And only love can contemplate love. You cannot contemplate love or truth from a person. You start from an impression of personhood, but what's calling you is the impersonal. So the impression of personhood is ready to sort of surrender itself to the impersonal. So it's a journey from an impression of me meaning resistance and seeking, that is ready to abandon itself, to surrender itself to the wholeness, to the current, to the flow.
So that eventually all the metaphors are like a poetry seen from the ocean.
Absolutely.
Instead of, somewhere to go.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. There are bubbles that arise out of the ocean, and they just go, and you're fascinated by them, and as they go, you find yourself in the ocean. You find yourself as the ocean. You are the ocean of being. You see, it's really important that we always come back to the reality of the self. This very moment never ceases to be. The self never leaves itself. Never actually becomes a person. Presence never actually becomes a person. The impression of personhood is a mind impression, a dream impression that we somehow, that arises into the space of being, into the spaciousness of being. It arises, and at on occasion, or maybe on too many occasions, we choose to ride that wave, to say, oh yeah, okay, yes, I am this mortal body mind. But in fact, we never are anything but the self. There's only the seamless reality of consciousness. Consciousness is seamless, which is so wondrous to come upon the contemplation of the borderlessness of being. No separate anything anywhere. Meaning all is I. Complete wholeness, complete seamlessness.
Yeah, there's another. These things, these sayings keep coming up. All is one, and the one is all.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
You know, the thing of retiring, I'm thinking of, I've been working a lot lately, and I have the issue of sometimes the nights, the long nights are difficult, are challenging, and I'm concerned about my health with it, and I think, but I can't really see a distinction between retirement and not retirement. I don't feel a difference now, and that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Because you'd always be doing something,
Absolutely.
I mean, the body mind is doing something. It's either going and doing something that's called a job, or it's taking a walk or something. It's not much different.
Yes. Yes. Some decisions make themselves.
Mm.
They sort of, when it's time for the fruit to fall off the tree, it falls off the tree.
Mm.
Similarly, in these aspects of our life, there is a contemplation that starts to arise around this subject, around this topic, and with the beautiful revelation that work, no work, it's beyond the labels, you know. Sometimes a lot of our difficulties is in the separations we make and the contractions we make around certain things. Not that certain contractions are well deserved, such as when you walking by and there is a snake close by, you better contract and step back. But there are a lot of psychological contractions that they can mellow. Need to mellow them a little bit.
Yeah, they can rule the day.
Yes,
or they're not.
yeah, they rule them unhappily, you know. Oh my God! I'm going to do this again, and it's always